Hello and welcome to Movie Film Studios, the only podcast that takes you inside the mind of two film studio executives as we unravel and then re-ravel the best that Hollywood has to offer. I'm Isaac.
And I'm AJ, and this week Movie Film Studios celebrates its first birthday. Shut up.
No, we can actually do that. It's out of...
it is out of copyright.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant. All right, stay tuned for the end of the episode when we sing happy birthday to ourselves. Our first birthday, it's episode 52. We've done 52 episodes. Hundreds of trailers, literally minutes of entertainment for you all. So this week we're going to do a nice special for you, with thanks to our commenters on Facebook. But of course, before something new, it's time for something old in Box Office Report. Now, last week we released the space-themed farce comedy in the style of the Coen brothers, The Afterburners.
Yeah, set in the NASA product development in the 60s.
Yep.
3 product engineers are forced to become sort of salesmen to monetize the things that NASA has spent millions of dollars developing. And it's the unlikely screwball, whimsical comedy that ensues based on that.
So the film itself, middling success, as these sort of highbrow, thinky comedies are. But the thing is, we got a great deal with NASA in terms of getting all of their old space gear from the 60s. Basically, Trump decided to start a fire sale on selling off all this gear that they don't need anymore because they're trying to fund a new mission to Mars or whatever. So we got it all on the cheap. We've got like landers, we've got spacesuits, we've got a whole bunch of top secret stuff as well.
Any archival footage in there as well?
Tons of it. So the thing is, now that we've got all this gear and it's kind of housed in one of our warehouses, there's part of me that sort of wants to follow in the footsteps of SpaceX and just launch our own space program as well as a movie studio. These companies are making millions and millions of dollars off like military contracts, sending satellites into space. I'm like, why can't we get a slice of that delicious space money and just send our own stuff up in space as well?
There's definitely some films we've made I really wish we could just send up into orbit, but that's not a bad idea. Like if they're giving us just surplus gear, why not?
Yeah, just send it all up. Archive it. Like the Voyager did back in the, I want to say 70s.
That's not a bad idea.
They had that like golden record with an incomprehensible message on there.
We do some sort of space probe with an archive of all.
That's right, yeah.
All 51 films that we have made in the last 12 months in a pod. We send it into outer space and hopefully some intelligent life form out there discovers it and finds our back catalogue and goes, these are the guys. These are the guys who really have their finger on the pulse of what all of humanity wants.
You know what? I think we do it. I think we do it Disney style as well. So we send up all of our films, and that's the last time you'll be able to like access them until the probe comes back into orbit, and we're able to grab it back down for the
76. I think every 76 years, a bit Halley's Comet.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So there'll be the 76th anniversary release of all of our previous films. So now we're wiping them from the database. They're being wiped from the Fuzzy and you'll never be able to watch them again unless you've pirated them, let's face it.
Yeah.
Until they come back into orbit 76 years later.
Yeah.
Not 75. That's an actual anniversary.
Yeah, no, it's 76. Got to be 76.
Yeah, great. Perfect. That'll get rid of all our surplus supply as well. All right, on to this week in trailers. And it's a bit of a special week this week. We decided to do something a little bit different. So instead of having a look at the films that are coming out or the trailers that have just come out, we polled you, our delightfully chipper listeners.
Yeah, market research. Really getting our feet on the ground, finding out what the people want, what makes them tick, what movies really capture their imagination. And we've got a very, very fine list.
Indeed, we do.
Of some incredible movies, varying from release dates. I think the earliest might have been in the mid-'80s.
Yeah.
And the most recent probably being about 2014.
Yep.
Let's quickly just go through the list.
Yep.
We have Goon,
Yep.
Godzilla,
Yep.
Tropic Thunder,
Yep.
Across the Universe,
Yep.
Labyrinth, Ex Machina, Primer,
Oh, yeah.
Ocean's 11, and The Matrix.
Yes, quite a motley list of films, that one. I actually like this whole idea about like just asking the people what they want, because let's face it, like 3 or 4 film trailers will come out every week. Not everyone's going to like them. They're not going to become favourite films for everyone.
These are literally the films that have influenced people. Yep. Even like more specifically the trailers that people have gone, I'm going to do anything I can to go and watch that film.
Exactly. Even if the film itself turned out to be kind of rubbish, the trailers themselves absolutely captured your imagination. So we are going to go ahead and try and do something with all of these trailers. There
is going to be at least one element from every single one of these trailers in the film that we come up with this week.
Yes.
And having said that, obviously we won't have time to talk about all 9 individual trailers.
No.
Let's have a quick talk about each one, though, and pull out the one element, the one thread of gold that's in there that we really, like, that has to be in the film.
So we'll start off with Goon, starring
Sean William Scott, Jay Baruchel, Liev Schreiber, Eugene Levy. The basic story is a Jewish guy in the north somewhere. I think he might be from like Canada. All his parents are doctors and they're pressuring him to do something with his life, and all he's good at is fighting. And he joins an ice hockey league as the enforcer, which is the guy who just fights, and makes his way up to sort of the minor leagues to essentially be this guy who is only there to just beat the shit out of people.
Yeah. Now, with a cast like that, you would assume screwball, weird, disgusting comedy, but apparently it's based on a true story.
It is, yeah. It's based on the life of the guy. He wrote a book called Goon, like Life of an Enforcer or something like that, and it's his real life story. They even do the thing in the trailer where there is footage of his actual fights from actual ice hockey games.
But basically, most of the trailer is just Sean William Scott punching other hockey players. So if that's the one thing we take from this trailer, it's
but I mean, there's other elements there. There's the underdog story, the real sort of rags to riches, the whole. I don't know.
There's a collection of things there. I think we'll figure out which bit we'll take from each one once we get into the green room. But for now, we've got a pile of different things in Goon to choose from.
All right, we have now the 2014 Godzilla, not starring Bryan Cranston, even though he is definitely in the film. We've talked about this film a lot, the magic superpower at the end that Godzilla just has blue lightning, he can spew down people's throats to kill them, which he just doesn't use at the start.
Would have been real useful at the start,
The fact that Godzilla turns out to be a hero, who like saves the day, and he's our friend, and
the fact that Godzilla's in the film for about 10 minutes of the entire running time of 2.5 hours.
The fact that Elizabeth Olsen and Aaron Johnson literally have about 4 frames in the trailer and then are pretty much 90% of the film.
And also the weirdness that they're playing husband and wife in this film, and then in another film that they like immediately released afterwards in the Avengers, they're playing brother and sister. It's really weird.
We have talked about all of these things before, and I'm sure at least one of those elements will make it through into this week's film.
Indeed. All right, on to Tropic Thunder now.
The somewhat meta comedy where they're making a film within a film and then don't realize that they're not making a film anymore and are actually in a Vietnam style action movie with Robert Downey Jr. thinking that
he's playing an Australian actor who then goes into method acting as a black actor in this particular film.
Jack Black is playing a obscene fart comedy guy. You've got Jay Baruchel again in this one. You've got some guy who's playing a rapper. They do some really interesting things in this one where at the start of the film they have their own trailers for upcoming films starring those actors. There's Tom Cruise wearing a hairy fat suit. There's Steve Coogan in this one as well. There's a whole bunch of really weird I mentioned while we were watching this trailer, I don't particularly like this film. No, I think it has some really good elements and it's just not pulled off really well. But a film that is this, which is much, much better, is The Three Amigos with Chevy Chase, Steve Martin, and Martin Short, where they're 3 actors who get pulled into a real-life action situation that they're not equipped for because they're actors, but done in a much more believable way where you believe in the naivete of the actors. Anyway, that's Tropic Thunder for you.
Yes. All right, on to the next film, which is Across the Universe, the Julie Taymor-directed adaptation of a whole bunch of Beatles songs into a romantic love story set in the 70s, I guess, where every character is named after a Beatles song, and sort of it's the trope of the musical, right? If there's an excuse to play a Beatles song at some point, the character's going to start singing Beatles songs. Really, I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful looking film with a bit of a here, there, and everywhere story. It's a Beatles song.
Sure.
Yep. And that's really, all I can say. Big ensemble cast doing famous songs that you love in a story that is not that great.
Really badly cobbled
Yeah.
together, up and down romantic relationship.
Yeah.
I didn't particularly enjoy this one again. I do love the songs, and the covers of the songs are very, very good.
Yep.
Just the character and the stories really didn't sell it for me.
Yeah, some beautiful visuals in it though, so very much worth seeing purely for that. And of course, the covers of the Beatles songs, which were also great, surprisingly. All right, on to Labyrinth, the oldest film in our list today, starring David Bowie and puppets.
Jennifer Connelly?
Jennifer Connelly, that was the name of the actress.
Billy Connolly's daughter, apparently. Or not. I don't know. Sure,
why not? So Labyrinth is about Jennifer Connelly's character sort of makes a wish that her baby brother would disappear, and her baby brother gets stolen by the Goblin King, played by David Bowie. And pulled into this labyrinth, which is like this otherworldly, dream-like, weird landscape filled with a whole bunch of puppets. And basically the film's about her trying to get her baby brother back from David Bowie.
Very interesting style of trailer. Obviously, we watched all 9 of these. Back in the 80s, it's just movie voice guy just sort of telling you what happens and then showing a short clip of that thing happening and then saying more things. Like the style of doing film trailers has evolved quite a lot over the years, but it's very just expositional. Here is movie voice guy telling you that a woman goes into a labyrinth and you see them, and pop sensation David Bowie brings his own unique spin. I'm like, why are you telling me that pop sensation David Bowie is in this film bringing his own unique spin? Like, just show me the scenes that he's in and I'll make my own mind up.
Just in case you forget that David Bowie is a pop sensation. To be fair, like, the expositional nature of this trailer is kind of necessary because Labyrinth is a weird film. It's just one of those films that could only have been made in the 80s where people were just like, yeah, why not have like an MC Escher styled scene where like David Bowie appears upside down and then like walks over the top of the staircase to face right way up, but no like reason for it, unlike Inception, which like kind of tries to make the MC Escher concept work. And this is just like, it would be zany, and it's also David Bowie in a huge blonde wig, I think. Could be his real hair. I'm not sure. All right, on to Ex Machina, the newest trailer, I believe, on the list.
2015, probably.
2014 or 2015, one of the two. So this is a sort of really hardcore sci-fi with perhaps a hint of thriller, horror in there as well. Brendan Gleeson stars... Domhnall Gleeson, sorry, that's the son of Brendan, right? Isn't it? Yeah, sure.
The actual son, as opposed to the Billy Connolly version.
Legitimately.
Oscar Isaac
and, oh gosh.
Alicia Vikander,
who also went on to play Tomb Raider. Lara Croft. So Alicia Vikander is an android in this film. So she plays sort of a prototype cyborg.
Yeah. Cyborg, I think, has to have human parts. Right. I think this is purely a construct with a synthetic face.
Yeah, that's right. And Domhnall.
It's Donal. Even though it's got like an H in it. Anyway,
so Mr. Gleeson is playing a guy who gets invited over by Oscar Isaac to come and check out this new technology. He forms a bit of a relationship with this robot, but nothing is really what it seems. He starts questioning whether or not the robot's been programmed to offer him affection or not. And then the robot starts telling him that her creator, Oscar Isaac, is perhaps not up to... is up to sort of nefarious things.
This is a film that I've definitely been meaning to watch for about 4 years now. Because I know it's fantastic, but actually sitting down to watch it hasn't really made the list. It looks really, really good in a way where it's like it is just literally 3 actors. It's a what do they call that?
Triumvirate?
Yeah, no, sure. I thought like a three-peat. I don't know if that's actually a thing. A three-hander? Is a two-hander and a three-hander a thing when they talk about plays where there's just
possibly?
Yeah, let's say it's a three-hander. Yep. And you have sort of very strong characters with very interesting motivations that are playing each other. I would very much like to see how this film plays out, and in a way where Across the Universe and Goon pretty much show you it shows you the last scenes from each of those films in the trailer. I don't really get a sense of exactly where Ex Machina is going anything from the trailer, but it's done enough to get me interested enough to actually want to watch the film.
Speaking of not knowing where things are going in the trailer, the next film we have is Primer. A film that I know I've tried to watch and wasn't able to get through it back in the day. Maybe it's a bit different now that I'm a bit older and a bit wiser, but if you watch this trailer, not a clue what's going on.
I will tell you what I think the film is about. So, based on I have no idea. I've never tried to watch the film. I've heard nothing about it up until now.
I know more about it, and Isaac knows nothing, so I'll let him take it away.
Two guys invent a machine in their garage that somehow gives them numbers that they can use to make millions of dollars, and then sinister forces sort of discover that they're using this machine to make money and come after them, and they have to hide away their secret or not use their secret, but then the partnership starts to dissolve as they can no longer trust one another.
Okay, there's elements in there that ring true, absolutely. I don't know if I should spoil it for you, or do you actually want to try and watch it?
I'll try and watch it at some point.
We'll just use whatever you just mentioned, and I'll try to avoid spoiling the film for you. All right, on to, I suppose the last two films are definitely favourites for the both of us. First up, Ocean's 11, which we've talked about, I would say, extensively on this podcast.
Yes.
Many of our films have been based on Ocean's 11. But of course, you know the story. George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Bernie Mac,
Matt Damon, Casey Affleck.
Yep. Some other actors as well.
Scott Kahn.
Let's go through and name the rest of them. So there's
I can't name the guy that played Chinese gymnast. I'm sorry.
I can't. I can't remember his name either. But there was also the guy that played Rhodey in Iron Man, the second one.
Oh yeah, he plays with a Cockney accent.
That's right. Yes. What's his name?
Yeah,
that guy.
Don Cheadle.
And Carl Reiner. Elliot Gould. And Julia Roberts as well.
Julia Roberts. Andy Garcia.
The only female in the film. Obviously, that story is the 11 of them get together to rob Andy Garcia's casino.
Not one casino, three casinos.
And they're going to steal $150 million from 3 casinos. Chaos ensues. Do they make it out? Who knows? We know.
Find out in Ocean's 12. And finally, we have The Matrix, 1999's Wachowski siblings.
Yep.
I'm going to say it's a masterpiece.
It is an absolute masterpiece.
A blend of sci-fi action, Hong Kong style, fly wire, martial arts, guns and explosions.
Beautiful mashup.
Existential technology. Starring the blank-faced Keanu Reeves, the blank-faced Carrie-Anne Moss, Lawrence Fishburne, Joe Pantamigliano, something like that. It's got all your favorites.
It's such a great film. And if you haven't seen it before, basically there's a world that exists called the Matrix, which looks like the real world.
It's an artificial simulation.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
And robots have enslaved humanity to. They've created the Matrix to occupy their minds, so they can turn humans
into a power source.
I have a theory that I've come up with quite recently, where humans did this to themselves. so you look at virtual reality, and eventually virtual reality is going to be so much better than reality that we'll just voluntarily put ourselves into pods that have enough nutrients, and then we got sick of it, and we these robots that we made to maintain this world and keep us. We blamed them for putting us into this society, even though we did it to ourselves.
You know what? That kind of makes sense. And I mean, following on with that, the thing I never understood about the Matrix was why anyone would want to leave it. Because the real world is this horrible blue, cold stone.
Oh, you haven't seen the second one where it's food and techno orgies.
Oh, fair enough. All right. Those are the 9 trailers for this week's birthday special. But of course, before we can do anything with any of those trailers, we're going to have to take a little walk over to the green room.
Surprise!
Hey,
it's a surprise party I threw for you in the green room.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, look at all the...
So many balloons, streamers.
Yeah, they're all green balloons. Yep. They don't sell green balloons on their own as well. Yeah. I had to buy bags of multicolored balloons and just pull out the green balloons.
Look, all our stockholders are here as well.
Exactly.
Which is us. All right, so we're going to do something, as we said, a little bit different. We're actually going to do all of these trailers somehow. We're going to pick pieces from each of these trailers and put together an insane film, probably the best film we've ever made on this week's episode. Now, of course, the most important thing that you have to do before you start production on the film is to name your executive producers.
Yep.
So we will go ahead and name everyone that contributed a trailer to this week's episode. So take it away.
Executive producers, which we listed at both the start and the end of the credits, yes. I think we'll go for, is Saoirse Ben Reuven, Andrew Campbell-Smith, John Bailey, Cassandra Taylor, Aaron King, Crystal Moran, Matt Cruera. I'm so sorry, there's way too many vowels in a row in your last name. Brendan DaCosta and Edward Bird.
Yes.
All executive producers for this week's film.
And we're not going to do the cheap thing that some films do where they list like multiple executive producers under the one executive producer title. It'll be executive produced by first name, and then it'll go to executive produced by...
They each get their own slide.
Everyone will get their own slide.
Nice.
Yeah. We do not skimp.
I mean, we treat our EPs...
Yeah. All the actors will get one title card, though. There's only going to be one slide for them. So whoever we cast, there's all going to have to fit on the one screen. All right.
Let's do a quick recap. We have an underdog sports movie. We have a giant monster movie. We have a meta filmmaking Vietnam film. We have a musical based on the works of a very popular group. We have a puppet's journey. We have an AI robot three-hander.
Yep.
We have a invention in a basement, really weird thing. We have a heist film, and we have a sci-fi action martial arts film.
Yep, brilliant. All right, so the first thing we need to establish is that this has to be an ensemble film. We need to have an absolutely insane cast for this film, so we need to
we're taking that from Ocean's 11.
We will take that from Ocean's 11.
Ensemble cast. Let's make a note of that.
Yep. So whoever we bring into this film, we're gonna have to just bring in a whole bunch of A-list actors into this film. Right, which we'll decide later, obviously based on what it is. Now, the thing that ensemble casts do well is to put them all in a situation that they share. So we'll take this again kind of from Ocean's 11, but also, I mean, we can also take it from across the universe, right? All the characters are united by a common thing. In Oceans, it's because they're doing a heist. In Across the Universe, it's because they all like Beatles songs, I guess.
They're all it's a coming of age in the 70s or 60s and 70s.
Yeah. You know what I didn't understand about Across the Universe? Do the Beatles exist in their world, or are they like non-existent?
He's from Liverpool. I'm fairly sure Jim Sturgis' character is from Liverpool.
No, but
yeah, exactly. Is the Cavern Club a place where they could have gone to in that time frame and seen them rehearsing?
Anyway, is it an alternate universe where these people are spontaneously coming up with these amazing songs, but the Beatles don't actually exist in this world? Who knows?
It's a weird one.
But anyway, we need to ground it in a thing where an ensemble cast can play around together.
Yeah. Are we going to take the thing that's slightly meta from Tropic Thunder?
Yep.
Where it's kind of, but maybe not necessarily a film within a film.
Okay. What are you thinking?
It's a good question. How do we make that work? Is it an ensemble cast that are brought together? Are the A-list characters playing themselves? Are they playing weird and warped versions of themselves?
I think they need to play weird and warped versions of themselves. Or is it a film about... I mean, this is the thing. We could do a film about making a film.
Yeah.
And maybe this needs to be the film about movie film studios.
Interesting. I like it. I do like it. But I'm trying to, normally we start with a genre. We start with a much...
True, yeah.
And I kind of feel as though we're kind of doing ourselves a bit of a disservice by trying to pull out one element. Why don't we try and group some of these things together?
Yep.
I think The Matrix and Primer and Ex Machina have these weird... Is it the real world, but with weird science kind of over the top of it?
Yep.
And I really think that's really where the film's got to start from. That's the kernel.
Yep.
There's at least a third of the films that we've been given that definitely have that element to it. And I think the public really wants to see a film from movie film studios about that.
So we're doing science fiction / non-fiction.
Yes.
That kind of blend of it's pretty fiction-y, but it could actually happen in the real world.
Yeah, exactly.
Ex Machina and The Matrix. All right, cool. So we're doing sci-fi.
Yes.
All right, so where are we placing our sci-fi thing? Because we can do sci-fi space, sci-fi Earth.
No, it's definitely Earth.
Yep.
It's definitely, it could be generic city or...
Yep.
So that's... The Matrix is kind of it's just a city.
Yep.
It doesn't have a name to it. The Ex Machina it's just a cabin in the woods. It could be the real world. It could be anywhere USA. Same with Primer. They're just some guys in a suburban garage. So it's the same sort of thing.
All right, I've got it. So what if it was about a movie studio who has created this brand new kind of invention that's the next evolution of VR.
Oh, right. Yeah, definitely.
And so it's bringing in actors into this sort of like, well, let's do like the single location thing from Ex Machina as well, right? So there's a set in some kind of house. We'll just set ours in like a film studio.
Yeah,
somewhere, right?
it's almost like it's set on a soundstage.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a green screen mocap soundstage, which is simultaneously a very specific location or anywhere that you want it to be.
And I also think it's going to be about the blending of like audiences as well coming into this soundstage to actually view whatever this film studio is making, and also actors coming in to act out. But then there's like a weird blend of like, who's an actor? Who's an audience member? Where are we right now?
Am I a CG projection of the character I was playing?
Exactly.
Or am I myself?
Did I take off the goggles or did the goggles take me off?
Exactly.
One of the two.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of gritty, sinister, good intentions from the movie studios, as you know, all movie studios are filled with. But obviously, then it just sort of degenerates into this like creepy, twisted, dark world.
Yeah,
of,
I like it. I like the idea of like as an audience, you enter the world to experience with the actors are playing the auxiliary characters, but then the actors aren't sure if they're the supposed to be experiencing the film or acting the film, and there's blurring the lines between that as well, so they lose themselves in the films. What happens if you're like Brad Pitt but you just want to go into the film? Suddenly people think you're part of the film, but are you? Who knows?
I mean, we could extend this meta narrative even further and actually just do it as a live production as well. So we invite audiences into a soundstage to watch the movie, and what they're watching is also people moving into a soundstage to watch the movie as part of the story of the film.
It's a bit of an Ouroboros, and then we film that as well, and so people can go into a cinema and watch that, and they're not sure if they're watching the people watch the movie or which layer of it is the actual film.
Inception style. You just keep going deeper and deeper into this film, and then suddenly you're not sure where you are anymore.
Yeah.
Were you just Tom Smith walking into the soundstage at Warner Brothers to watch this film? Or have you become part of the film itself?
Who knows?
Who knows? All right, great. And I think that kind of covers the Labyrinth thing as well, doesn't it?
I don't know. I wanted to take the puppets from Labyrinth and somehow put them in there as well.
What? I really want to take from Labyrinth the puppets and the... what was the line from the trailer about the pop star bringing his own unique twist to the...
we've done that so many times, and it has worked every single time. Ed Sheeran and Harry Styles have been audience favourites.
Yeah.
Why not pick someone else from the world of music, which definitely doesn't take us 10 minutes every time just to think of someone who could that
Ariana Grande, there you go.
It's true.
There's one.
This is the part where I pray. That's the only song that I know. And I didn't even know it was by her until someone said, I bet you know an Ariana Grande song. I'm like, I'm going to prove you wrong by not knowing an Ariana Grande song. And I lost that bet because I had heard that song once before.
I don't know that one. I only know one other one, and it's not that.
Sure.
All right. So, are we casting Ariana Grande? Maybe she can be like the architect of this.
Oh,
maybe
don't say the architect. That was the worst part of The Matrix 2.
You're absolutely right. Maybe she's the head of the movie studio in this film.
Right.
So
but she doesn't exist.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I think she is an AI construct.
Yeah.
Who is
just like us. Yeah.
who everyone thinks she's the head of the studio, and they come in and they talk to her, and they're like, "Can you be in our film?" They don't know they're already in the VR, and she doesn't exist. She's an AI construct who's getting them to agree to be in a film studio, in a film because they think that they're not already in a film.
Yeah, exactly,
Definitely.
exactly. All right, great. So we'll pull that from. Oh no, we need to figure out the puppets.
Yeah, I don't know how puppets work. That's a really weird thing. Why would you have puppets in VR? And that's why they're there.
Yeah.
Because people see puppets and they're like, well, why would they have puppets in VR when they could just do it as CG?
Yep.
And then their brain goes, I must not be in VR.
Yep.
But they are in VR, and it's the trick. That's the one thing that's like the spinning top in Inception. You spin the top, and if it constantly goes, you know that you're in the dream state or whatever. But in this one, you see puppets, and puppets is like, oh, if it was VR, it'd just be CG.
Yeah.
But we're using that to trick people into thinking.
Yeah. I also like the idea that certain people watching through the VR will see puppets, and they'll think they're puppets, but they're actually just other audience members who are watching and just moving around as well. Because I kind of like the idea. There's a bunch of, I'm not sure where it came from, there's a bunch of short stories where it's like people are playing a video game or doing something interactive and not actually realizing that what they're doing corresponds to a real life action. It's usually used for some kind of like horror trope or a high concept sci-fi thing where people are playing a video game and they're shooting people, shooting digital avatars, but what's actually happening is it's playing out in the real world and they're controlling physical people and actually killing physical people. So maybe we can just bring that element into it.
Are you talking about like Ender's Game?
Possibly.
Like where they pretend like it's war games and he's controlling the spaceships and they're like, twist, it wasn't a war game at all. You were controlling real ships. And he's like, but the people I sent to die, I did that because I didn't think they were real people. It's like, well, we needed you to do that because you won the battle and we couldn't win it on our own because we thought there was humans at stake.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the thing. Maybe whilst they are inhabiting the VR world, we secretly dress those actors up in costumes, and that they're playing out something completely different in VR. But the people watching them on stage, they're doing flawless like Macbeth or whatever. It's just like, how do we get Kate Blanchett and Brad Pitt and George Clooney and Sandra Bullock into play Macbeth? We have to trick them. We have to trick them into putting on VR goggles and think that they're doing something completely different, and so we can get them in to save the failing movie studio. Yeah, exactly. It's a pity we don't have like an 80s John Cusack film where they have to put on a production of Macbeth to win $10,000 to save the rec center.
We have Across the Universe, and we can kind of make a tenuous link there in terms of it being a movie musical.
All right, so it's not Macbeth. It's some sort of rock opera.
It is
based on the. Can we do based on the musical works of David Bowie?
Yes, we can, absolutely, because I was thinking like we've had Queen, we've had the Beatles, we've had ABBA. Let's do David Bowie,
and it ties back into Labyrinth as well.
Yes, absolutely. And the best thing about this as well is we can name the film after a David Bowie song if we wanted to.
Yeah, a space oddity, Life on Mars.
Yes,
Major Tom. Like these, you just do what Across the Universe did. What's your name? My name is Space Oddity. Like it's from a song, whatever.
Yep.
Major Tom, you're the one that I actually know. What's your name? Fashion? Yep. I think that's a David Bowie thing.
What's your name? You're a bit of a hero, aren't you? And then just sing a song that has not the word hero in it at all.
Ziggy Stardust.
Ziggy Stardust. Yeah, Suffragette City. Why not?
Yeah, let's go there. Sure. These are all just words. I've listened to a fair few Bowie songs. Nope. I pretend I'll know exactly what it is. We cobble something together. We can't get A-list stars to be in it unless we trick them into doing it through the power of VR and puppeteering. Nor can we get
David Bowie in it. Maybe David Bowie has to appear in our film. Will that be too... Do we bring him back?
No, we do. No, like what they did for Michael Jackson and Tupac is a really bad
hologram projection. Yeah, sure. All right, cool. So we've got our like tenuous Across the Universe style film. I think what we need a sort of like a grounding plot, so like a central character we can follow. Because we've got like Ariana Grande playing the sort of virtualized movie film executive, but I think what we also need is a protagonist, something that the audience, at least initially, when they put on the VR goggles for the first time, they kind of see this person. They're like, okay, we're following this person's story. Maybe it's like a young and upcoming actor. Yeah. Or maybe someone who's discovered because they have a particular skill, a la Goon.
Yeah, that's not bad. It's the underdog story.
Yep.
They how do we do that? Because if it's going to be acting and singing, I quite like the idea of like each person who watches it. Yep. They are this protagonist.
Yeah.
They come through and they add to the world their own unique set of skills.
Yes.
And whatever, like the AI algorithm will, scan them and figure out, hey, you're actually pretty good at, guitar. So you can be the guitarist of and play all the Bowie songs. Yep. Hey, you're pretty good at hairstyling. You can do all the hairstyling. I don't know if people have skills. Hey, you're pretty good at trading stocks on the stock market.
Yep.
This film isn't probably really sure. There's going to be when the AI reprograms the VR every time to make sure that they're the underdog stockbroker who comes up ahead. They're the underdog guitarist or whatever.
Okay. What if they were playing a character that was just good at nothing?
Good at nothing?
Good at absolutely nothing. And it somehow that's what kicks off this sort of break in the Matrix style, you are the one because you are absolutely not special at all. We can't assign you to anything because you are so faceless and so boring.
Maybe that's the thing. People go, this is the extra layer. They go, oh, have you heard about this thing where it analyzes you and it finds out the thing that you're the underdog and you're special at?
Yep.
I was, the guitarist. I was the stockbroker.
Yep.
And then... But the real trick is that everyone who does it goes in and they're like, oh no, you don't have any special skills.
Yeah.
And then they have to they go through the story. And
They meet various actors as well during that story. So big they'll be playing themselves, these actors. So at some points you'll meet Brad Pitt and he'll start coaching you and telling you certain things, but also like he's a bit suspicious of you as well.
Oh, interesting. Are we actually going to have Brad Pitt play Brad Pitt?
Maybe.
Or can you play Brad Pitt?
Maybe it'll be another audience member playing Brad Pitt.
You know what I reckon we can do is every time you go through, you get to play a different person in the world. And that way, like, you know how people go and they watch a movie once? In this one, if there's 100 characters, then he's like, I'm going to play through this movie 100 times from each different perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we get 100 ticket sales from each of them.
Beautiful. I mean, yeah, why not? I like this. Can we also add an extra layer in here? So I want to take the thing from Primer, which is like two dudes in a garage making something. Yeah. Maybe the two dudes in the garage are making this whole machinery for all this, like the systems to work, the VR system, the world building, the AI. Maybe it's sort of just down to these two guys who are inventing something in a garage as to how it all comes about.
Maybe that's the thing. Maybe whilst it's also simultaneously a one location green screen room, it also sort of like that. Maybe there's like a time travel element to it, or something where you get a glimpse of the original movie film studios, which was just someone's garage. And that's like another layer of. Is there time travel of any of these other things? Not really. The Matrix is like maybe potentially. If you obviously this thing has probably about 16 different layers. And if you can wake up from one layer, you then get to experience another layer.
Beautiful. All right.
And in one layer, it is a big grand movie studio. But then if you sort of pass that level of the movie and you wake up, you find, oh no, I thought it was a big movie studio. It was actually some guy's garage the whole time. And they were, they had that like really shitty VR with lots of wires coming off it. This isn't sleek and Apple product design at all. This is more sort of your Honey, I Shrunk the Kid kind of like headset. And then you have to see if you can try and wake up from that layer
that one to get back into like the real world where you entered a film studio to watch this film.
Exactly.
Great.
Not realizing that walking through the door was the key.
Exactly. And man, we're gonna have to people are gonna have to sign so many waivers and like disclaimers to actually watch this film because it will just like break their minds.
We are going to lose people in this. It's like Jerry went into to watch this film in VR. He's been gone for 6 months. We don't know which layer he's stuck in. We're gonna have to send someone in after him. Right, like this is this is more Labyrinth than Labyrinth. Right, it's a maze that you can like you can lose your mind in.
Exactly. And then like those people can come to us afterwards and like say, oh, my husband went in like 6 months ago, and then we'll be like, oh, what time screening was he in? And they'll be like, oh, 10 past 12, and we just look down and say, well, the 10 past 12 session is still going. That's still got like at least a few months to go if your husband is lucky. So check back with us then, and then we'll see how he's going. All right, now there's one thing we haven't put in yet. There's one element we haven't put in yet, and that is Godzilla.
Godzilla.
I don't know where we're going to mash Godzilla in there.
It's weird. It is a very weird one where what's the element in there? Like the
giant like monster destruction, and I think that's something we don't have yet. How we're going to jam that in there as well, I don't know. I mean, there's part of me that sort of, is there a part of the film where Ariana Grande reveals her true self and sort of grows to be 50 feet tall, like Power Rangers?
I think so. I think we're going to have a mech fight. Yeah. It's going to be some sort of giant robot versus... And that is an alternate ending.
Yeah.
Just to really jam that in there.
Yeah. Giant Ariana Grande versus...
Yeah, like you have to control a mech suit at some point.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you find the clues the whole way through, like you can pick up like at least one sort of piece from each layer of this, labyrinthine matrix.
Unlock the mecha fight at the end.
Exactly. And depending on how many pieces you've collected, depending on how many people you've teamed up with, someone's operating the legs, someone's operating the arms.
Absolutely.
If you've found your friends along the way and teamed up, then you can win this mecha fight.
What happens if you lose against Ariana Grande?
That's a good question.
So you're just lost forever in the labyrinth. You have to start again.
Yeah.
You have to watch again and collect all the pieces again.
But all the
pieces have moved.
And if you win, you wake up from the final level.
Yep.
And it's just a bedroom with two guys sitting at a desk talking into microphones about really weird and bizarre ideas.
We'll just give them the studio.
Exactly.
Like if you make it through and you beat Ariana Grande, we've made a video game here, but like
it is. But the issue is that it's a video game, and people walk into the cinema and they think they're going to be watching a movie about a VR world.
Yep.
And it turns out that they have to wake up from that layer as well, and it's like, I thought I was just walking into a movie.
Yep.
It's so much more than that. It's a musical VR experience. It's Inception Matrix layers. It has real actors playing themselves. It has real actors playing not themselves. It has opportunity for you to play the actors playing themselves. It is so many things.
You know what? You know how the Three Amigos is just a better version of the Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
Our film is just a better version of Ready Player One.
It is, absolutely.
Just like, it's Ready Player One, but like really hitting home that whole, like, you are trapped in a world and you do not matter, but also you do matter.
But that is also what the Matrix is as well. Like,
that's true, yeah.
The Matrix is Ready Player One, where the people don't know that they're in virtual reality.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so many things in here.
So many layers. All right, great. We've got this like beautiful cake of a massive amount of films.
You said cake. I was just picturing onions, just
whatever.
Layers upon layers upon layers.
A huge ensemble cast, which is pretty much just any actor that wanders into the studio when we're filming or when we're showing it. Who knows? It could be
exactly.
either or.
And if any famous actor actually wants to go and experience this,
yep,
because it's not really a movie at this stage, it is an experience, but we can't call it the experience because we called something else we did the experience.
We did.
Then we just scan their biodata and add it to the database, and then suddenly, Brad Pitt comes back to Beat Level 2 and he's like, I don't remember me being in this before. It's like, well, I've got you now, Brad.
Exactly. Because you know how these actors get, pretty much Disney ties them all up with the Avengers 4 and they tie them up for like several months. We can't get them half the time. All they need to do is just walk in and out of our studio. We scan them.
Bioscan.
Done.
Yeah.
Into our film they go. We do need a name for this thing. I think it's going to be named after a Bowie song, as I mentioned earlier.
Space Oddity?
No.
Major Tom? Heroes.
Look, I would like Heroes, to be perfectly honest, but
it's like, this is the problem. Like, Life on Mars has been taken. Heroes has been taken.
Yep. Under Pressure. Changes.
Yeah, that works. Like, because every time you go through it changes.
Yeah. All right. Changes. It is.
Changes.
Yeah, and I think the soundtrack to the film should just be like a multitude of covers and alternate versions of the song Changes. So you have like elevator Muzak versions, you have like trippy dance versions of it, you have polka versions of it, just as the film changes.
Yeah.
It's just the same song.
Every time you go through a layer and it changes.
Yeah.
I reckon like we've got to do something with the word changes as well to make it seem all weird and sci-fi.
Yep.
Is there like two letters that we can like inverse and make it look like the letters VR or?
That's going to be a challenge.
Yeah. A upside down can look like a little bit like a V.
Yep.
And
that works.
What's the letters like? So
N. I mean, if you just don't draw
H, an H could look a little bit like an R if you're sort of
I was going to say, if you don't draw the N all the way through, it does look a lot like an R.
Exactly.
So that'll do.
It's the hidden key.
But also, like when you read that poster, you'd be like, Travanges?
Yeah, just like Traverses.
Exactly.
Which is a fantastic electropop Scottish band.
Yeah, so that's what we'll do. We'll do like Travanges.
Yeah.
Which is CHVRGES.
Yeah.
And then we say, no, the name's called, the film's called Changes. But, just a hint at what's to come.
Interesting. The more I think about it, it is really just a like Ready Player One. It's more like the Ready Player One book, which was an actual puzzle adventure where you had to go from world to world and solve the mystery that was this weird sort of like, whereas the movie was something completely different.
Yeah, but our film doesn't have that many pop culture references except for the music of David Bowie, so it's going to be much cheaper to make than Ready Player One was. And also, because we don't really know what's going to happen in it, we just like let people loose in there and just see what happens.
Exactly. It's almost, I think, is this like a movie film studios version 3.0 where it just becomes an immersive reality experience?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And if you make it through the end, you'll just find the room where there's just two guys talking into a mic.
I'm like, if the technology is so accessible, I'm surprised that other film studios haven't done this already.
I know, but us, we're always on the cutting edge of taste and of audience appeal. So
I mean, again, by polling literally hundreds of people and finding all of their favorite films, what we've decided to do is just create an entirely new virtual reality experience where people can do what they want, because everyone's taste is so different that it's impossible to actually come up with a single coherent idea that covers everything.
Correct. But in that way, everyone is happy.
Everyone is happy.
And that is a wrap, I believe.
I believe you're right.
All right. Housekeeping, as per usual. We are online at moviefilmstudios.net, where you can find all of our previous episodes, our bios, and of course, Mfuza Woodada, which we've scrubbed clean because we've sent them all up on a space probe, and they won't be coming back for 76 years. Search Facebook and join the... search Facebook for Movie Film Studios. Yeah, I mean, you can just search Facebook if you want, and search for something else, but you won't find us. If you specifically search for Movie Film Studios, you'll probably find us and the community that we have, where we post emoji clues and translation clues as to the trailers that we've watched in upcoming episodes. There's not really any point doing it this week because you all posted the trailers for us, so I think you know what's coming. We are also on iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, YouTube, and any other place that you get podcasts. And I think that's it.
All that remains is to thank you once again for listening this week. I've been Isaac.
And I've been AJ.
Roll credits.